participants there. So as you're coming in, thank you for joining us. If in the chat you'd like to share with us where you are in the world, that'd be great, because we've had people from Australia, Italy, Hungary, all over so far this morning. But this is the third time we've run this first session this morning. So we're doing them GMT time at 7 a.m, 9 a.m, and 11 a.m, as this one is. And then we'll be repeating those times for the next 2 Tuesdays, but with the second and then the third instalment of our 12 top tips. While you're waiting, those of you having a sneaky look at our Leeds showroom in the north of England. So we have our main showroom down in London, but we have this one in Leeds too. I thought it'd be nice for you to see Gilly and I together in the office.
So we'll be starting in about 3 more minutes. So it gives you just a bit of time just to get everything set up. Start the drink. And we'll have a little check how many. Oh, we're up to a few more participants. Yeah. If you do have any questions or want to share where you're from, remember just drop a little chat on the Q&A.
We have someone from South Africa.
Oh, brilliant.
Welcome. That's truly an international series of webinars.
It's the Clevertouch way.
Yes.
So 2 more minutes. Thank you for your patience. We'll just want to give people a chance. We had over 70 people sign up for across the 3 sessions. Hopefully they remembered.
Go to our little Q&A again.
Oh, from Serbia.
Ah, brilliant.
South Africa and
South
Serbia.
Africa and Serbia. Anybody else want to share what they are from? Just drop it into our Q&A chat.
I'm from London.
A long way from me, Harvey.
Yeah. Where are you? Are you in the Leeds showroom?
So we are in the Leeds showroom in the north of England, so not far from where I live. Bulgaria. Lovely.
Wow.
So 1 more minute and then we'll begin. Are you recording from now, Harvey, or are you still waiting?
Yep, recording started. So feel free to begin when you're ready.
So a few more seconds. As soon as it's 5 past, we will begin. As I say, thank you for joining us, and hopefully you'll want to come back next Tuesday as well to see the second 4 interactive tips, and again the week after for the final 4 for 12. Okay, so it is 5 past 11, so we're going to get started now. So welcome to our Leeds office, and thank you for joining us. My name is Gareth Middleton. I was a primary school teacher for 24 years. Until I joined Clevertouch, and I've been with them for 3 years as a trainer and a demonstrator. And my colleague is Gilly Fraser-Rees.
Hi, and like Gareth, I've also been a primary school teacher for just over 12 years. And I joined Clevertouch more recently, so I've been the last 6 months as a demonstrator and trainer. So hopefully you'll get lots of hints and tips about using the LYNX Whiteboard software. Gareth and I have put together sort of 12 top tips that we really like to use, and hopefully you will too.
Yeah, so this isn't going to be training on how to use LYNX. There are videos on that, or we can offer you training as well for yourselves or your end users, clients and customers and so on. This is just about showing you LYNX Whiteboard and why we believe it's a really great tool as an interactive display package that you can use on classroom boards or on individual devices. So we're going to move away from the camera view of us now, and most of the sessions will run totally from our laptop screens, but they are attached to our Clevertouch Impact screen, so sometimes we'll be using the touch capability as well. So we're going to get started with the first session. Okay, so bear with me while I share my screen with you all. Here we go. So LYNX Whiteboard is a totally free app that you can download from your app store onto almost any device. So you can have it on Apple devices, Android devices, even Amazon Fire tablets, MacBooks, Chromebooks, and then of course Windows PCs and laptops. When you have got it downloaded onto your device, you can then create an account. So I've done that, and here I am on the lynxcloud.app website where I can manage my account. So first of all, I need to sign in, and once you've created your account, you've got single click sign in with all of these methods. I can also scan a QR code, and I can join via an email, as I'm doing right now. Okay, so when you are into your account, one of the great areas is the drives area, because when you've created your account, you'll get a LYNX Cloud. So that means on any device, when you have got LYNX Whiteboard open, you can save what you've created to your LYNX Cloud and then open it up from any other device. Makes it really portable and easy for teachers to use when they're on the go. You can also link up these other cloud drives, Dropbox, Google Drive, and OneDrive. So if I click on my Google Drive, I'm straight in there to all of my files, so I can open them in LYNX, or I can download them onto my device. And LYNX will open up pretty much any type of file. So I can open up Smart Notebook files, Active Inspire files, and so on. And when you first open up LYNX, you will see the dashboard here. And if I go into the open area, you will see that I can go to local folders on my device, or those are my 3 linked drives where I can open files from. So I'll open up Google Docs, Google Slides, and PowerPoints as well, convert them into LYNX files. You also got the ability to create brand new files. There's a games area where you can open up some simulations and activities that you can create as well. And there's a browser area too, if you want to search for things to drag into a LYNX presentation. But that's not what we're here for today. This is all about turning a presentation into something a bit more interactive. So this is LYNX tip 1 with me, and this is all about creating templates in the background layer and why they are useful. So on this page here, I've started to create a maths activity page. So I've got a nice red background here for my red group. This is going to be a differentiated activity, so different colors for different groups. I've also got some text boxes that I've already put in. First of all, I need to add a text box, the title for my lesson. We call it the learning intention in classes in England, or the learning objective. So to do that, instead of using this cursor for selecting things, I'm going to go to the T here for some text boxes, and I can choose one of my 3 chosen fonts that I've picked in the settings. So I'll use Open Sans, and I'll click on the page where I want this text box to be. And I'll click there actually, and I'll start to write my learning intention to set out and use the vertical method. This is going to be for addition. So I've got my text box there. I need to make it larger. So I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit. And I also want to underline it because it is a title. Now you'll notice whenever I click on something, you get a floating toolbar menu that pops up underneath the item. It changes depending on what it is. So at the minute we're looking at the red rectangle, so I can change the color of it and maybe give it an edge around there. If I click on a text box, such as the title, we get some different options. So I can change the color, And in here, I can make it underlined, I can change the style and so on. So I've done that now. Now, I also need some other colour rectangles because we've got the red groups rectangle, but I don't have the yellow or the blue. So to do that, I'm going to go to another of the tools down here, the little plus button. And in here, I can find insert shape. So when I click on that, I can select the shape that I want, select the colour, and now I can drag this onto the page. Now you'll notice I've dragged that on and it's covering up what is already on the page. So that's not perfect, is it, at the moment? So I need to adjust that. First of all, I'm going to click on the shape and use these nodes to drag this down. But now if I want to arrange this, I need to go to the box in here that will help me do it. And it's this one that looks like the square with the dots around it. It says arrange and transform. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this yellow rectangle backwards through the layers. So of this normal layer that we're on. So now you can see it's behind the text box there. So I also want to have a blue rectangle. So instead of going to the plus here and adding in, there's a quicker way for me. I'm going to go to these three dots here and I'm going to click on clone. That gives me another copy of the yellow rectangle, which is automatically in the background for me. And if I go to the color option, I can make it blue. So there we go. I've got my three rectangles. Now you'll notice in this red box, I've got my sum ready there for some children to come up and have a go at. And in the blue group, I've got my sum there that children can come and write it out for themselves. But the yellow one is missing. So I need another text box. So I make sure I'm on Open Sans, click on the page, and let's start writing a sum. So I'm going to make it 3,639. Come underneath, and I'll make it 4,783. So there's definitely going to be some changing going on. Add my plus sign in. So I'm nearly ready now. So I can drag this and I can make it larger. If I'm using a touch screen, it's a really nice, simple process. I can just drag it smoothly around as you see I'm doing there. I'll just enlarge that and leave that in that area. And what I need to do actually is underline the bottom number because I want that to be the start of my answer box. So I'm going to underline that. There we go. You can see it's a little bit wonky, so I'll just use the joystick to help straighten me up. And now if I want another line underneath there, I could do it several ways. But one of the really cool ways is I'm going to go into the pencil case and I'm going to select the line pen. Now, in here, in the pencil case, you can set 3 pens alongside the rubber. So if I click on the little menu, you can see the first one is an ink pen currently. The second one is fine tip, and the third one is a highlighter. So let's change this first one. So I can maybe change it to the maths pen. With this, I can handwrite numbers and different mathematical symbols, and it will convert them into an image of those symbols. But I also have the text pen. So if I use that and I'll do the same, that will convert my handwriting into a text box. The difference between them being that the first one is just an image. Just delete that. But the second one is a fully editable text box. So I can change the style of it and so on, and the size, etc. But the one that I really want to use, let's undo that mistake there. You've got the undo and redo sections there. The pen I want to use is the line pen because that's going to help me put in my answer box. So I shall just create that there. Now, all of my sections are ready to use, but at the moment, the children would be able to come up and mess around with all of these. So these can all be picked up and moved around. So if I go onto the cursor, I can pick this up, pick up the writing, I can even mess around with the rectangle. So I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the corner and I'm going to drag my mouse across all of the rectangles, all of the text boxes. and I've selected all of those items. But even though I've selected multiple items, I only have the one floating toolbar. Keeps it nice and simple. So I'm going to go into Arrange and Transform, and this time I'm going to send everything to the background layer. You can tell I'm in the background layer because it says here Exit Background. So if I click off everything, I can still pick up these items because I'm in the background layer with them. So if I exit the background layer, we'll now see that I can't pick anything up. I'm dragging my mouse. It's looking for things to pick up, but it doesn't think there is anything. It's as if it's protected under a glass layer. So now I can invite students to come and write on the pages. So if I pick a pen style and a colour, I'll be able to start writing on here. Now it's multi-point touch. So I could have 20 students all scribbling away on there at the same time if they wanted to. Let me just get rid of those. But using the pen, I can start completing some of the equations. So the middle one here, 9 add 3 is 12. 3 add 8 is 11, and another one is also 12. If I was to make a silly mistake, so I've added this up incorrectly, I've got the eraser here, so I can rub out the mistake. But you'll notice it won't erase anything that I've put into the background layer. That's all safe. It's only going to erase the pen marks that the children add on. So when they're working on the board now, we can very easily see that they can come and complete the activities, and then you're free to be able to erase them, ready for someone else to have a go later on. And all of that's protected. So that's one great thing about the background layer. Now, the second useful thing is the fact that you can turn what you've created into a template and use it over and over again on other slides. Because, of course, you're not going to give the children just one sum or equation to do in the lesson. So to help me replicate this, copy this onto other pages, I'm going to go to this slide viewer here. So now I can see all of my slides. And if I go to this little hamburger menu that you just might be able to see, you can see it more clearly on this one. If I click on that, I can duplicate the page. So now I have a second page that matches the first one, and I can start to mess around with it. But not at the minute, because all of this is in the background layer. I can't change anything. So if we go back to the main menu, to the plus button, above insert shape, keep going up, you have edit background. You can tell I'm in the background layer again. It says exit background. Now I can click into these sums and I can change them. So this number here, for example, I might decide to make it 7,185. And then this number here, just highlight as much of that number as I want to change. Make it 2,936, for example. This equation up here, I can change this to. And stretch that out. So now you'll see when I go from this page back to the previous page, the numbers change. So I've got two templates created very quickly, and everything that is in the background layer is still in the background layer. So when I click out of there, I now can't mess with the new equations that I've made. So that's LYNX tip 1, creating background templates. So now we're going to move on to the second of our tips this morning. It's actually listed as tip 3 if you get your hands on the PDFs that accompany these 12 LYNX top tips. And this one is all about creating an interactive diagram, an interactive layered diagram. So it will utilize some of the same features that we've just used. So I want to create an interactive layered diagram, and it's going to be all about the systems of the human body. So I need to find a nice image that will help me do that. So to do that, I'm going to go back to the plus where all our extra tools are, and I'm going to go to the content area. The content area has two main places, the media search, which we're in now, but it also has the local content area. This includes things like, in the maths area, interactive maths tools, and lots of other content that you can use whenever you need it, such as flags of the world and so on. But I want to stick to the media search, and I'm looking for an image that is going to show me layers of the human body. Now, I can search in all sorts of websites: YouTube, Pixabay videos, clip art, GIFs. Unsplash is a professional photography studio. I'm going to go for Bing. And there is an ideal image, so I'm just going to drag it onto the page and let go. Thank you, media search, don't need you anymore. So I'm just going to resize this. I want to make my diagram as large as possible. So there we go. I've got 6 images there though, and I only want 4 of them. And also at the moment, they're all side by side, and it isn't layered. So I need to mess around with this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this image so that I've got 4 separate images. To do that, I come to the crop tools here. So I click on there, and you can see I've got various tools. I have a fill tool, which you'll see me using in a moment, a block highlighter, and in here are the various crop tools, and I'll be using 3 of them. Julie will be showing you the shape split in a bit, but I'll be using the other 3. So first of all, let's start with crop rectangle. So I want the skeletal system, so I just drag the rectangle over the skeleton, let go, and there's my image of the skeleton. I'm going to move him over there. Next, I'm going to use crop freehand because I want the muscular system. Here we go, drag all around there. And let go, and I've got a copy of that. Pop that there too. Next, I'm going to use the knife, and we're going to slice down the 2 sides of the circulatory system. Slice 1, and activate it again, and we'll do slice 2. So this time I've actually got this image directly from the original. And finally, for the 3rd one, I will use crop freehand again. Nice and quick. Okay, I don't have to join the border. There we go. So now I've got my 4 images. The other original images I don't want anymore, so I'm just going to delete those. So here are my 4 images. As you can see, they don't look that great because they've got that white background. So I need to get rid of that. So what I can do is I can click on the image, and you'll see down here there is a kind of raindrop with a cross through it, and it says remove background. So if I do that, it should take away the background of the image. It doesn't want to let me. Let me try that one instead. That one. So sometimes it won't work depending on the image, but not to worry, that's where the fill tool will come in. So I can click on fill and choose transparency as the color, if you like. And then when I click on each of these, it will remove the background for me. Okay, so now I've got my 4 images, and I need to layer them and match them up with the label. So I'm going to start off with the circulatory system. That's the one I want at the bottom. So there's the circulatory system image, and I'll pop its text underneath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and select both of those because I can join them together. So down here, look, we've got the arrows pointing at each other. It says group items. So I can do that. And now I've got the option to ungroup them as well. So I've grouped those together, but I also want to send this layer into the background. This is the layer that I don't want to mess about with. So I'm going to select it, go to arrange and transform, and send it to the background. You can see I'm in the background layer and everything else has faded out. So let's exit the background again. Next, I want to add on top the nervous system, and we'll pop its label there. And so I need to join those 2 things together. It doesn't matter about the one that's in the background, that's safe. And next, I want to do the skeletal system. But when I drag that over, you'll see that the skeleton is going underneath the image. So I need to do something to stop that. So first of all, I'm going to grab the label that goes with the skeleton, and we'll link those together. And I'll slide it into position. And then if I go to arrange and transform, I'm just going to bring it forward. There it is, it's on top again. Finally, then I just need to sort out the muscular system, link these two items together, slide it on top, and because it's not on top, I'm going to arrange it so that it is perfect. Now, if I highlight all of those three images, I can also go into the three dots here and I can click editable while presenting, because I want to make this an interactive diagram. And now if I go into presentation mode, which we find in the hamburger menu here, we can start presenting. And now what it means is the children would be able to come up and they'd be able to peel off each layer. So they'd be able to click on the figure, they'd be able to click on the text and drag out each layer. Now the skeleton, I can just drag it off to reveal the nervous system, or I can click on it and using the eye here, I can use a transparency slider and we can peer into the next layer below. And I can still remove that, even if I make it transparent, I can still slide it away and we can then peer into the final layer in the background, circulatory system. So that's how to make an interactive layered diagram. So now if you just bear with us while Gilly and I do a changeover, and we're going to jump onto Lily's laptop. Lily's laptop, I might say that, so that she can take over with the other two tips this morning. So I'll just stop sharing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gareth. That was great. Yeah, don't forget to pop any questions you have in the Q&A box. We'll do our best to answer them during, but if not,
to check
we'll get to
what
them.
sound outputs you're using. Are you all ready?
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me, Harvey.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Microphone. You want that one? Yeah, HD audio for microphone. And speakers or SW built here. Oh yeah, which one is it? Yeah, that one, I think. Okay, so Harvey, can you confirm that you're hearing us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I could do that one.
Can you hear us now, Harvey?
Yep.
Go to my phone.
Can you hear us now?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Mr. Helm says he can hear.
So he can hear us, we just can't hear if that is okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you need to mute yours?
No, it's not me.
Okay, I'll just keep mine muted like this. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I'm going to share my screen now. I'm sure somebody will let us know if you cannot hear, but hopefully you all can. So I'm going to be looking at it's our third tip of the day, but it's actually what I talked about tip. It's number 2, and it is creating an interactive theme. So again, I'm starting a little bit like Gareth. I've got a blank canvas in front of me in the LYNX whiteboard, and I'm going to choose to create. Oh, I don't believe I'm unmuted.
Sorry, we seem to have lost sound. Gareth, could you unmute yourself? Yeah, sorry everyone, we've lost sound here. I don't know if they can hear me, but we're just letting them know now. So apologies for this. Yep, just working on getting sound back. So anyway, just in the meantime, the next session will be in a week's time on Tuesday. I think it's the 23rd. Same times again, 7 a.m., 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And we look forward to seeing you there. Hello, Gilly, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear us?
Yes, brilliant. Thanks.
Brilliant. So let's have a little go, just a little bit of a technical glitch there.
Yeah.
So we'll just go back. Hopefully now you can see my screen that I'm sharing and that you can hear me absolutely fine. And I shall.
Yes, we can. Thank you very much. Sorry, everyone. But we're back in business. Thanks for waiting.
Joys of technology. So I'm going to be sharing with you, it is on our top tip PDFs if you have them, number 2, but it's actually the 3rd one in our session today, and it is creating an interactive scene. Now these are great, especially if you want to get pupils more involved and coming up and really immersing in their learning. So I'm going to be looking at the Gruffalo today because he is one of my favorite storybooks. And I'm sure lots of you are familiar with him. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of my screen to where the plus is, and I'm going to add some content in there. So go to my content. Gareth previously mentioned about the media search and the local search. I'm going to stick with the media search. And this time, because I want to think of a nice background for my Gruffalo, I'm going to put in snow and forest, and I want it to be slightly animated, so I'm going to choose a Giphy, and let's go down. Oh, I think I quite like this one, so I'm just going to click on it, drop it onto my screen, so you can see it looks like a lovely woods with the snow falling. If I click this middle icon, it will fit the whole screen and expand, and it will automatically drop it into the background. So if I click on that, and then a little arrow tick, I am happy with that. So now I need to think about inserting some of our characters. So I will go back up here to our search, and I'm going to look for our Gruffalo. And this time I'm going to look in our Bing images, and I've found one there that I like, so I'll drop him on. I'm also going to get a mouse, so let's search for the mouse. Quite like that one, eating the nut. And because I absolutely love mice, I'm going to put a second one on as well. And then I'm going to put a final and 4th character on. I will put the owl. So let's see. There's the owl there. Fantastic. So I'm just going to close my content for the moment so I can work with the characters. As you can see, I can use the nodes just to shrink and make those smaller, and the little crosshairs just to move them around. So I'm just going to adjust all the sizes of them there just so I can work with them a little bit better. Previously in Gareth as well, just like where it's got the backgrounds on it, you will notice that with each icon I click on, you get this floating toolbar. If I click on the little teardrop, it should remove the background. So it's removed the background there. I can do that again with this one. And I can do it with the mouse. The owl came in already with a transparent background, so I didn't need to do that with him. If you want to tinker around and try and get rid of all the little pieces, you can see there's a little bit there in between the Gruffalo. So I can go into my fill, choose the little transparent, which is the bottom one with the little lines through it. And then hopefully, if I click into there, It should hopefully fill that in, remove that part. No, doesn't want to do it today, but I could also have another option of just removing and using the eraser to do that one. So I'm going to stick with these for the moment. And I'll pop them where I think I'd quite like them to be positioned. So the little mouse with the nut, I'm going to shrink down quite small, and I'm going to put him sort of in the back of the woods, so he looks like he's there in the middle of the woods. This little mouse, I'll pop that one down there at the front, and then the owl, I'll pop on a perch on the tree. Now I can just have it from the one single slide. I would actually quite like it to move on to another slide, and I think I'd like to put in a bit of a cave. So I'm going to go back to my content. So down at the bottom there, and this time I'm going to pop in. So I need it to kind of match. So I'm going to do a snow cave in the forest. So there's what my keywords I'm popping in. Ooh, and I like the look of that one. So again, click it, drop it on. Now I'm completely finished with the content. Little tick to say, yep, that's fine. Now it's a little bit big, and I don't want all of that image. So again, I'm going to go into my cropping tools, and I'm going to use the freehand just to select the bit of cave that I want. So I'm just going to carefully and quickly just draw around the bit of the cave that I would like to keep, and it makes that duplicate of it. So I can now delete the back one and keep this one. And if I put it there, it sits in front of the Gruffalo. So again, any icon that I click on, I get this floating toolbar, click on the three dots, the arrange and transform, and I can send that right to the background. And I'll just use the nose to make it a little bit smaller there. Move the Gruffalo out of the way. Okay, so now I'm quite happy with that and ready to start that interaction. So when I go into present mode, something's going to happen instead of it just being a flat standard image. So the Gruffalo, if I click on my three dots, I can enable while presenting. So that means I will be able to change him and move him while I'm presenting. The little mouse, I'm going to leave as that. And then when I click on any image or anything that I've put on there and not giving it a function, if you click on it, it will just automatically zoom in so you see it nice and big. The little mouse, I'm going to replicate. So when I click on it, I'll be able to clone it. And then the owl, I'm going to select a link. And in here, I'm going to select a file, which I've downloaded to my computer into my pictures. And you can see here, I've got the owl hoot. So I'm going to select that so the owl can make a little sound. So select that one, pop it there and click OK. And then the final thing I need to do is my cave, and I'm going to set it to link. And I'm going to link that to a slide this time. So I've already chosen a background for slide number 2. And I'm going to click OK. So we're now ready to go into our presentation. So going down to the bottom to our hamburger menu, I'm going to start our presentation. And I'm just going to move to the board so it's an easier flow to do this. So I'm going to tell you a little story. So we've got our Gruffalo who's coming into the woods. He spies the mouse in the distance who's eaten a nut, and it's magic, so it makes him grow really big. And then the owl spots the Gruffalo, decides to warn the little mouse, and the mouse calls on all their friends. So we've got an army of mice to chase that ferocious Gruffalo away. The Gruffalo then turns on his heels because he's scared of all the mice and runs back to his cave. And there he snuggles up with his family, with the mouse watching in the background. So that is how you can make an interactive scene quite quickly. And you can be as creative as you would like with it. So I'm now going to move on to our fourth and final tip of today, which is our split shape. So again, I've just got a blank canvas here. I'm going to go into my content at the bottom. I'll just stop presenting there. And at the bottom, I'll click on that plus sign, go to my content, and this time instead of being in the media search, I will go to our local content. And like Gareth has said previously, there's lots of pre-made resources in here. You've got your background, you've got flags, you've got interactive maths resources. I'm going to click on our shapes. And I'm going to click a circle, and you can do this either with your circles or with your squares or rectangles split shape. So I'll just make it a bit bigger so we can see it nice and clearly. Now, again, like all things, we have this floating toolbar. So it's that real ease of flow throughout things. So you can easily click on the paint box and just change the color to whatever you would like the shape color to be. You can even change the color of the outline and also the style. You can change it to dotted, whatever you would like. So there's lots and lots of options there within that floating toolbar. I'm going to go back down here and to the little slicing knife, and I'm going to click on that, go back into my crop tools and go to split shape. And if I click on that, I can then segment my circle. And what's really lovely is you can move sections from there. I'll pop those two together. You can even then change the colours of those sectors. And what's great there as well, you can have all that discussion. I'm just going to group those two together. You can have that discussion of fractions then, of maybe what shape, what part's been removed, what fraction shaded red, what fraction shaded blue. And then what you can also do down here with the floating toolbar, again, you have your pie options and your angles, so you can have a look. It can show you what the radius of the circle is. So if you know the radius, you could be asking, well, what's the diameter? You can show the angle. So if I know this is 51 degrees, what will the grey be? So lots and lots of different options that you can use there. You can even continue to use the nose. So if we knew it was 51, 2 should be 102, and you can check that those sizes match the grey, see if you're correct just by using those little nodes and positioning it. So I'll just use that little joystick there. Yeah, see if we were right. And then you can even use those transparency tools to go, yep, 102. So you've got that transparency there. I did say that you could also split shapes with squares and rectangles. So if I just drop a square or rectangle on, and I'll just edit it to the size that I'd like, go about there, should be plenty. And again, paint pot, you can change the color and everything. I'm going to leave it as the blue at the moment. And I just go back down to my shape split. Click on my shape split, and this time if I pull down, I get my rows, and if I move across the page, I will get my columns. So this time I've split this shape into 8. Now, the great thing with this as well is that you can double click just inside the text, inside those squares, individual squares, and you can put some text. So I'm going to add some text in because I'd quite like to make it into a bit of a jumbled sentence. So let's see there. Baby kangaroo darted across the busy road. That will be the end of my sentence, so it gives people a bit of a clue if I put a full stop in there. The other things I can do as well, I'm just going to close that content box so it's out of my way. I can highlight all of those And you'll notice down at the bottom, I can change all the colours. I'm going to go into the text settings and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier for us to read. Okay, you can change the colour, the style, anything you want to there as well. And actually, while I have them all highlighted as well, I'm going to say that they're editable while presenting. So then when I go into my present mode, down to the bottom hamburger again, I can ask pupils to come up and order that sentence, and hopefully they'll get it in the right order. There's a few clues there with your capital letter and your full stop. So once they've moved those into position, you can have the discussions. You can use it as a grammar lesson, or you can use it thinking about conjunctions, prepositions. I might say, oh, can anybody spot the adjectives in it this time? So it might be, so we have the baby kangaroo, and it might be that we shade those a different colour. And then we had busy road as well. And it's really quick and easy to change those colours to really highlight the words and the objectives that you are thinking about. So lots and lots of opportunities of teaching and learning and really engaging your pupils within this split tool. So that's the end of my final tip number 4. So we will open it up if there are any questions that anybody has to ask. I'm going to stop sharing my screen there. So over to you, Harvey. Have we had many questions come in?
Brilliant. None so far, but we'll give it a minute. Can you hear me all right? Just checking.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Oh, if I put my video on, we'll see it's in the office here too.
So we've got a question in, but we might wait for you to get video.
Hopefully it will. Yeah, it doesn't want to play a video. Yeah, I'll try a different video. Integrated webcam. So you'll see me hopefully just from the camera. There we go.
Fantastic.
And Gareth just over here as well. So yes, did you say you had a question come in?
Yep. Is it easy to get links for my device?
Yeah, very easy, because you can just go to your app store and search for LYNX Whiteboard and download it for free. It's totally free on any device. The only kind of device where you would need to pay in any way is if you want it from our Clever store on a Clevertouch screen, and then you do need to be a Clevertouch customer for that. But of course, any device that you download LYNX Whiteboard onto for free, you can connect to the screen and have it displayed onto your screens anyway.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Next question. Can I create lessons on any device?
Yes, definitely. So as I've said before, Windows devices, MacBooks, Chromebooks, Apple devices, Android, even Amazon Fire tablets, and LYNX looks the same across all of those platforms as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. What are the annual subscription costs?
So there is absolutely no subscription. Like Gareth said, it is free to download to all those different types of devices.
Brilliant. So it's free. Fantastic. Is there somewhere I can download these lessons?
Yes, so on the clevertouch.com website, there are tutorials and videos on there, and we also have the Clevertouch Academy, which will go through lots and lots of additional tips and tricks for using LYNX.
Fantastic.
These particular lessons you can download as PDFs from the Clevertouch website.
So they have like a step-by-step guide.
Yeah, if for any reason you'd like a LYNX copy of kind of what we've created, then you can email us and request that. So it's either gareth.middleton@clevertouch.com or gilly.fraser@clevertouch.com. clevertouch.com. But yeah, there is the PDF version for you to download of all of the 12 tips that we'll be going through over this week and the next 2.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Harvey, I saw a question about someone wanting to open a PowerPoint. PowerPoints will open in LYNX. I think by the end of the year, they should be fully editable as well. Most of them will open up so that you can move the text boxes around and the images. Don't try and open up a PowerPoint if it's full of animations and transitions and things. It will still open, but none of those transitions work. You're better off just using your PowerPoint, but you can open PowerPoints and convert them into links. Same as Smart Notebook and Active Inspire files.
Okay, brilliant. And the last question so far is, can it convert different file types?
Yeah, so similar to what Gareth's just said there. So yes, absolutely. With the smart notebooks, I know a lot of people have already built content and things on, and with the Active Inspire. With the smart notebook, it is editable. The text at the moment comes through as a PDF image, which you can move around. You just can't edit at the moment, but by the end of the year, that should be fully edited. But the Active Inspire ones, you can edit the text and everything within there as well. So you don't need to panic about, oh, I've got to go and redo all my planning.
And Google Docs, Google Slides, they can be opened up within links and then easily annotated over the top of them and so on as well. They open in a PDF style.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. That was the last question. We'll give it a couple minutes to see if any more come in. But otherwise, please join us next Tuesday for session 2, covering tips 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 weeks time for session 3 for 12 tips total. We look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, Harvey.
Thanks,
very much.
Harvey, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for hosting. You've been great. We hope all the attendees have learned something too, and we look forward to seeing them next week.
Brilliant. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye everyone.